Hey, girl.
Hey. Does that say fuck it, just get naked? I love it.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Trying to get the last piece out. Stuff always happens, so I like to kind of try to come early, so I can fix this shit. How was your day?
It's been so busy, or I learned to say full, so it doesn't have a bad connotation. My day's been very full, and my cat is crying right now, and I don't know why.
Who's crying? Your cat?
My cat. I got kittens last week to fix.
Oh my goodness!
Hoping that could help with sanity.
Did you want the cat, or how did that happen?
Yeah, I adopted two rescue kittens.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, they're really sweet.
That's kind of cool. So, question. So, do your cats wake up in the middle of the night and do this talking thing?
So, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it because I've only had them for 7 days. They've been good.
Oh my goodness.
Take the newborn who sleeps through the night. Knock on wood.
Girl, I have this girlfriend. Every time I visit her in Charlotte, it is like she has this cat, and the cat always waits until I don't know, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, no, about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and it just talks. It's like, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Like you had all day to fucking talk to me, and you're waiting till now.
She sleeps through it, right? And I'm like, girl, you don't hear that? And she's like, oh yeah, that's just Chow. I'm like, that's not normal. I was like, so Chow needs to go to fucking sleep.
Exactly.
Girl, I just hope your cats don't wake you up and that you love them times 10.
Thank you. They are really super lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like now she's crying. I'm like, I don't know what you want.
I don't know how to fix it yet.
Exactly.
So
Kat Ambassador, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. You know, I stalk all y'all pages, so I had to make sure y'all okay. And so what happens is we'll wait till everybody else joins us, but it's the time to fix your camera, get your drink, your food, whatever you want. Okay. And when everybody gets on, kind of just go over, it's really go over nothing because it's really I don't have structure, right? Because I believe when you have structure, everybody gets super stressed out. And I'm a free spirit. The rest of my life is structured every day, all day. So this is one time where I can be free.
Good for you.
So I'm just like, look, we'll talk about whatever y'all want to talk about, get into whatever y'all want to talk about. And it helps us heal, right? Usually natural, organic relationships helps us heal. So that's basically it.
How long have you been doing this? Because kudos to you. Like you have such a great energy, and just to share that with people.
I've been a counselor since I just stopped my counseling job because it was just too much. I've been doing that for 25 years.
Okay.
So I'm like, sister's tired. But I think God put that in my life really to learn to do what I'm doing now, right? To kind of help myself get through it and then help other people get through it. And I always wanted to go to school for art, but I never did because I didn't think I was great at art. But that helped me cope through breast cancer. So art, music, and fashion, that's how I rock my scars. So my nonprofit is to help breast cancer survivors. And not only, I don't just limit to breast cancer survivors, but to help us as a whole when we go through trauma, learn how to cope using those, because everybody loves some type of art, if it's music, if it's drawing, if it's, whatever. So therapeutically, that's what we do. And then we have an annual breast cancer fashion show, right? Where the breast cancer survivors can just walk and strut their shit and be hot mamas and whatever else. We try to do that in Miami every year. And so we try to take everybody, pay for everything, and then do a little yacht cruise on Sunday where all of us is going on a yacht, hang out, have fun, jump in the water. It's always fun because people are like, can you swim? I'm like, girl, I could save my life if I needed to. But the water it's kind of cool. You can go all the way out to where the boats can go no more. And then It's like you can stand in the water, and you're in the middle of the ocean, standing in the water. Oh, there.
Somebody wants attention.
Yes, like, oh, so you're talking to somebody, huh? Let this person in. So yeah, it's just kind of like an outlet to have fun because we forget how to have fun, right? We totally do. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you?
Look at you. Red's my favorite color, so.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I'm gonna be on.
I made a good choice then.
There you go.
Hi.
It was just that out front of my mouth. About I rock my scars and how it got started. But as I was telling Jessica, everybody usually comes on between now and the time 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And we really don't have a format. It's really just everybody flows and we talk about topics. I tell everybody, if you want to tell your story, you can. I don't always want to talk about breast cancer, but if you want to and you want to talk about the bullshit your doctor did or something that you can help somebody else out with, let's talk about it,
Okay. I'm in. I just thought I would be meeting with some friends and have some coffee. So,
I'm thinking about grabbing a glass of wine. I'm not a big wine drinker, but it sounds like this is going to be the most social, like the best social thing I've had in a long time.
That makes a couple of us. The one thing I will warn you though, we are gearing up for a really bad storm here. So I'm hoping that power doesn't go out, but I'm not making any promises. I've got my computer so that I can just pull the plug on it and it's powering up right now, but if it starts, because it looks bad. So,
and that's how it was here. So no, and look, if you have to cut out, sweetheart, cut out, and then you can come back anytime you want to. Of course.
And I can only stay for about an hour, so.
That's fine. But I gotta get my fan in here because I'm like.
Oh, okay.
Where are you?
Where am I? Western Canada. So I'm in Alberta. I'm in actually sort of western northern Alberta. What about you?
Manhattan.
Manhattan. I love Manhattan.
Yeah.
I love New York. I love New York. Yeah, I'm a misplaced New Yorker. I know that. I've always known that. Yeah.
And I feel like I need to be in the mountains.
See, we should just switch.
Seriously,
house
swap, apartment
swap.
Yeah, we'll do the swap. Yeah.
Once COVID is over, we should seriously connect about that.
Yeah, I totally live out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I pretend I live in Paris, but the reality is I live out in the middle of fucking nowhere. So. But we travel and, we actually like it. I love what I do. And that's a big deal, I think. Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to get a job doing what I do, actually. So.
What do you do?
I was going to say, what do you do? Fill us in.
I teach fine arts. So I'm a fine arts professor. So I teach painting, drawing, visual fundamentals. Yeah. All
this is great.
All things art related.
Fabulous. Your smile is amazing.
I'm sorry?
Your smile is magnificent.
Thank you. I had a good dentist. Actually, one of the things I had trouble with after I had breast cancer and chemo was my teeth. My teeth got really weak. And I ended up breaking one of my front ones, which was just distressing as hell. I thought, oh my God, like I look like I was born in a trailer.
Yeah.
Give me a break here. So I actually did, I'll confess, I had them capped. But they did an amazing job because I said, I don't want glaringly white. Like I just want, I want a little bit better than what I had. And he said, good. He said, I don't like doing that cosmetic blinding from wherever. Right. So most people don't even know I've had them done because they were very close to what I used to have, but it's distressing the things that happen to you, really. Yeah. You just don't know. Right. So
how long out are both of you?
Well, which time? Yeah, that's sort of the problem is that my first diagnosis was 2011 and it was stage 2B in the right breast. And I had a 5-centimeter tumor and 1 lymph node, and the cancer cells had actually spread outside of the tumor as well. So yeah, I ended up having two operations, one lumpectomy and then one where they had to go back in and scrape to the chest wall. I'm not very big, so he said, when he did it, he said, you know, I did the best I could, but he said, you're so thin. We went to the bone. And yeah, and that's all we can do, right? So then I had chemo and radiation. And then my next diagnosis was on the left side in 2015. So I've actually been diagnosed twice with separate ones. So when I decided I was going to do a double mastectomy, I was I was tired of the scans. I couldn't get away from every 3 months because I'm really high risk. Yeah. So I was constantly getting X-ray scans. I was tired of it, right? So I finally had enough. I couldn't get away from every 3. Take them off. Yeah. So do you need to get yourself organized, Cathy?
Oh no, I'll do that while y'all talk.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just setting up all my stuff while you're talking and then letting people into the Zoom call. So you're fine. Keep talking.
Okay, we're good. Okay. So what I did was I was really just exhausted. I was stressed out all the time. It just seemed every time I turned around, we had to do another biopsy because there was something suspicious. My breasts were full of cysts. And I said to my oncologist, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I said, I want to have a double mastectomy and I'm finished. And he said, you know what, Tina? He said, I think that's a really good idea. So he was on board and he recommended a surgeon. Actually, he was the surgeon that did my second surgery. And yeah, I just went in and said, okay, enough. I don't want to do this anymore. Take him off. So that's what he did. Actually, my surgeon was really funny because he speaks in a very non-doctorly way. And on my chart, when I read it, because I like to read the charts when they go away, I grab the charts and I read them just in case they're not telling me something, because seriously, you know, I have to have all of the information. And on it, it said the surgical instructions. You know what it said? It wasn't something like double mastectomy or bilateral mastectomy. It was remove both breasts. That's what it said. And it almost hit me harder than it did if it was really put in scientific terms, because I went, oh my God, that is what I'm doing. Whew, okay, well, let's do it. And yeah, so, and when they did the pathology, there was nothing. So I know my oncologist actually called me Christmas Eve and he said, I have good news for you. And I went, yeah. And he said, yeah. He said, I got the pathology back and you're good. So now we're just going to cross our fingers and hope we got it quickly enough. And, you know, the same thing we all worried about, right? Metastatic. And, you know,
like
what about
when you hear that you had it in the second breast? Like my initial thing is like, I hope it was a new cancer, which is so fucked up. Like, I hope it's a new cancer. But
I hope it's, I know. Isn't that fucked up? But it's true. It's how we feel. Yeah. What about you, Jessica?
I was diagnosed in December of 2016 with, initially it was just a shit ton of DCIS, but there was so much, I'm like trying to remember the sequence.
It's hard to remember. I actually usually write it down because I forget. Yeah.
I almost went back for the podcast I almost went back to the notes that I had, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to make myself crazy. Like what I remember, I'll remember, and I want it to be as just here and now as much as I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there was the second mammogram, and then straight after that, it was the stereotactic biopsy, and it was 7 centimeters of DCIS that wound up being invasive.
Yeah. That's big. 7 centimeters is big.
It was so in the United States, we're not the brightest, and we have to do inches and not the non-metric system. So
when I say it's big, okay, that's a big tumor. Yeah.
So I grew up thinking that the little lines on a ruler, those are centimeters. So I didn't think that 7 centimeters was a lot until someone was like, Jessica, that's really big for a tumor in your breast. And I was like, oh.
There are 2.5 centimeters in an inch, if you remember that. Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that would have been like 3 inches. So, you know, we're looking, yeah, I'm a visual person, so we're looking at probably something that big. Because I know mine was almost the size of a golf ball.
Oh, shit.
And it was 3 centimeters. So yeah, you probably still, it hasn't hit you just how big it was.
Yeah,
So,
no, not at all. I 7 centimeters. You know, if they put it in inches, it would have made, would have hit me harder. So I think it's better that way.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So then,
So a lumpectomy wasn't an option, and I had huge, like I'm tiny, I'm small, like that you are, and I had G breasts, like 34 G breasts.
Yeah, those are quite large. Yeah.
They were large.
Yeah.
So a lumpectomy wasn't an option because there was so much, and it was aggressive. I don't remember all the
details.
All the details, but it was aggressive. So January 26, 2017 I had a double mastectomy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had to decide whether I wanted a unilateral or bilateral.
Yep.
And this was interesting, and I haven't spoken about this in years, and I think I've only talked about it once.
Oh, Jessica, do it. Yeah.
You got me. I'm already like sucked in, like, ooh.
I have that effect on people. I suck them in.
And then the fuck it in the background. It's like, I can take my shirt off.
Sure, we can do that too.
When I met with the genetic counselor, I said something now knowing it was stupid, but I didn't understand a lot at the time. And I said, well, I hope that I test BRCA positive, because then that will decide that I have to have a double mastectomy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was a little bit puzzled, and he's like, tell me why you want to have a double mastectomy.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I don't think that I could feel sexy or comfortable with one huge breast and one non-breast.
Mm-hmm.
I already, like, right off the bat, I knew I didn't want to have reconstruction. It was just something I intuited immediately. You too?
Well, I went through the motions to see, you know, what the possibilities were, but to tell you the truth, everything I thought scared the crap out of me. And I went, I'm not doing this. Forget it. I mean, I don't know how old you are. You look young. You're lovely. But I'm 63. So
I'm 46, and you look freaking young.
You look high for 63, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, well, it's genetic, so you know. I mean,
there you go.
Thank you. It is what it is. But I would never have thought you were 46 either. I would have thought I had you pegged in your late 20s, maybe.
Oh God, I love you. I loved you already, and huge love fest. And you're a flatty also.
Yeah.
So when
ladies, hold one thought, Jessica. I'm gonna let you start back up in 5 seconds. So we're gonna go live on Instagram and Facebook. People can't see you, but they can hear you.
Okay.
And the reason why that is because I want you guys to always be protected, and that's why we do on Zoom. After we record this on Zoom, at the end of our series, we'll put together all the series. The ones that you're on, you get to review, and then you can tell us if you're okay with us airing it or not. Because I do believe in protecting you, your vulnerability, but I do want you to be as honest as possible. And then, you know, whatever people hear, they hear, because it's real. But if it's something that's sensitive that you don't want people to hear, say that. Be like, Cathy, tag that, don't air that, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want y'all to be protected and safe, because this is what I want this community to represent. So I'm going to start on Instagram, and then what we'll do is we'll introduce each person. Okay. And you'll tell a little bit about yourself, and then Jessica, we'll start with you first, and you can go right into that story if you remember, because I know how it is.
Okay, and then once you're finished with yours, I can tell you mine.
Hey guys, welcome to Real Talk Rebels. I am Kat, your host, and with me I have started two lovely ladies that, trust me, they've already got close. They've been telling their stories, and I had to say, whoa, wait a minute. People got to hear this. Definitely, I can already tell it's a relationship that has been made in heaven, because they are clicking, and that's what I Rock My Scars represent. It's a sisterhood. I do understand, fellas, that you're going to inbox me and say you rock your scars too, and yes, you do. So if you want to come on the show, you can. I always like to extend myself. However, I'm a woman and I like to speak for our rights and be an advocate, talk about things that we don't feel is right now. Even though we are supposed to be free in the United States, women are suppressed. So I love to hear women tell their stories. Number one, to educate other women. And number two, to educate y'all men. Because sometimes we don't want you to be touching our bodies because we don't feel sexy. I said, it. Behind me, you can't read my whole sign, but you know what it says. It says, fuck it. It's that time. We real talk rebels. We don't have no limitation. We also don't have any judgment. And it's a protected safe zone. So all my survivors are protected at all times. So you can have your comments on them. Okay. Now, of course, thanks for joining. Jessica, do you want to go first since you came on first? Tell people a little bit about yourself and anything you want to say, girl.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Semmel. I'm in Manhattan right now. And what can I say? I'm an elementary school teacher. I was a social worker before I became a school teacher. I have a 12-year-old son. I am in school to be a mindfulness meditation teacher. And I like to think of myself as an activist and kind of being an actively anti-racist activist right now and spending a lot of time doing that. And I'm honored to have been asked by you, Kat, to be here. Thank you.
Of course. And meditation is very important because that's something I just really learned how to meditate before I go to bed because your thoughts before you go to sleep is very important, right? And I try to tell people that meditating throughout your day is kind of self-care. So that would be something that you can share with us a little bit throughout the show of how to meditate. And it doesn't have to be a long meditation. It could be like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that. So
I'd love to because it was the journey of breast cancer that got me really into meditating. So my thoughts wouldn't go further than the test that I had to have that day. So we could talk about that after.
Yeah. Okay. We're passing the mic to Miss Tina. Miss Tina, come on, tell us about yourself.
Hi, yeah. My name is Tina Martel, and I don't live in Manhattan, but I do like to pretend I live in Paris. So I do actually reside in northern Alberta in Western Canada. So yeah, I'm nowhere near where you guys are. But I am a 2-time survivor, and I've been diagnosed on both sides. I'm now happily living NED and flat and trying to be an advocate for that. Professionally, I am a fine arts professor. Actually, I teach painting, drawing, all things art, and I am a professional artist as well. So, and that was something that really served me well during my recovery because I was documenting a lot of it and with the intention to write and illustrate a book afterwards, which I did. About the first diagnosis, and I'm doing a second one about being flat, but right now I'm just sort of in the process. Yeah, so I was really excited about the first one, and I'm equally excited about the second one. And the community I've met is amazing. So I want to pay tribute to all of that and what we are going through. So like you said you're being an advocate for Black Lives Matter right now, and go you, way to go. That's incredible. What I'm doing is really trying to talk about being flat and how to be your own advocate and how to advocate for others as well. So it's been a journey.
Are you part of any of the flat communities on Instagram?
Well, I'm just starting because I just started an Instagram account actually not that long ago. It's only been, I think, 2 months or so. It's called Not in the Pink, which is what my book is called as well. And I'm just starting to find them all on Instagram and join as well as individual people. And so it's becoming quite interesting. I'm getting people calling me now and saying, and then because it is basically about fashion, right? How to dress your new body. And yeah, and what to do with it. Mostly I'm just having fun. My husband and I were out today actually, and he was snapping a few pictures because it was nicer earlier this afternoon. And I said, would you come do a few pictures of me? And he said, sure. So he's helping me when I can't do it on my own. Yeah.
So we'll connect later because of with Instagram.
Okay, sure.
There's such an amazing flat community, and I could not have gotten through my process without I mean, it sounds so weird, but without the Instagram community, it's amazing. So I can connect you with some great flat people.
Okay, good. I would love that. Thank you. Yeah. You know, I find myself here, I mean, I live in a fairly small community, right? I say small, it's 80,000, but, you know, which is not exactly a small town, but still, it's a small city. And, you know, I can't think of I think there's one woman that I know here that's flat. And I know there's lots of people up here that have had breast cancer, but they've either had lumpectomies or if they've had mastectomies, they've had reconstruction, or they are simply hiding. And we hide. That's what we do. And we have to stop doing that.
And I think, Tina, that's important. So a couple of things you said. I was telling Jessica before you came. So I rocked my scars. That was one thing that helped me through breast cancer was art therapy, right?
Right.
So I was a counselor. I kind of gave that up. I'm still working on, you know, some of my cases, but art therapy are coping techniques and skills that we teach to help you cope through skills. And I applaud you because, you know, that is something that definitely the world needs right now is how to cope, period, you know. And going through what going through right now, it definitely would help the world love a little bit more if they take the time and do art with their family, do art projects at the dinner table after they eat, or Saturdays and sit up playing the computer games and all that. Sit down and learn how to do art projects because you get to know each other, you know, and you get to have conversations that you really don't have when you separate and everybody go to their separate rooms. Mm-hmm. And the second thing that you said that touched me was, I just had this conversation with a lady from Pakistan, and she says you know, like, I feel like I'm dying alone. Oh. You know, I feel like over here I'm dying alone. And that's one thing I don't want anybody to feel like, because number one, you have us, right? I tell everybody who comes on this show, you're not alone. We think we're like so isolated and it's just nobody out here like me. And then when you come in this community, you're like, everybody has the same problem. Look, I have one nipple, you know, I have funny stories about my one nipple coming out, you know, and then about body image, self-esteem, just having conversations about sex. This platform is for that, because those conversations sometimes are so hard. And then to get people to understand, and that's why I go live on Facebook and Instagram, because I want people to hear reality. Right? Because a lot of times it's hard for us to express that to our loved ones. So I definitely applaud you guys, number one, from coming on here. I definitely love when I have new people and they're willing to share it all, basically.
Yeah. So that's exactly right. Community. It's all about community, and it's hard to find one. So when I was diagnosed the first time, there was no online community. And the second time was better, and this time has been much easier. All the research I did before I went in to talk to my surgeon about double mastectomy was online with the flat groups. And I got my pictures from there. I got, you know, I went in with a stack and I said, I do not want to look like this. I want to look like this. Right. And I kind of, knowing that surgeons can be, how do I politically correct, somewhat egotistical.
Somewhat is generous.
Thank you. I like to be diplomatic. But what I said to him was, I asked him, how many years have you been doing this? And he said, oh, like 30 years or something. And I said, good. Because I said, this is the result that I want. These are really good results. I'm sure you can do this for me. And he said, I can do better than that. So I thought, good, okay. I don't think he ever really liked the decision that I made, because every time I saw him, he would ask me, you know, have you decided to do reconstruction? And I kept going, no. So the last time he said to me, so have you changed your mind? And I went, no. He said, and he got this kind of look on his face. He said, you're sure? And I went, okay, see my lips, see my mouth? No fucking way. And then I gave that grin that I like to give to people when I've just delivered really bad news. my professor grin, I call it. You handled it. Pardon me?
Can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Yeah. When I found that I had to have the double mastectomy, or like just the other story of deciding to have bilateral rather than unilateral, because there was so much pushback to have reconstruction, I knew I didn't want to, but I met with a plastic surgeon, and he literally said, quote unquote, "You're 100% making a big mistake. You will 100% regret and never feel like a woman again if you don't have reconstruction." He's like, "I want you just to feel the different kinds of implants." And I hadn't even cried the whole time yet. And it had been now like 2 or 3 weeks of testing and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had yet to cry. And it was holding those implants. I just thought I lost it. I was like, I don't want this shit in my body. You know, like I want the cancer out of my body, and I'm not putting something in. And I don't begrudge anyone who makes that decision. I think
No.
do, and I respect it wholeheartedly. But for me, I knew for so many reasons, it wasn't the decision for me. And to hear, you know, I got pushback from friends, from family, from the breast surgeon, but the plastic surgeon, he was like, "No, you're going to 100% regret this. I don't agree with it." And then I saw another woman, and she said she's never done the surgery before, flat surgery, and she had no pictures. And this was January of 2017. And there were so few people. And that's a whole nother story of finding the community and watching it grow. And then once I had my surgery, that's when I started my Instagram account, because I knew that there needed to be representation in the flat world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there does absolutely need to be, like, I feel like there's a culture shift that needs to happen where people don't need to project their own wants and their needs on other people. Like, I'm, as an advocate, like I do advocacy locally here. Anybody who's in a support group, I always tell them that flat is an option. You know, I went through reconstruction. It's something that I wanted to do, and it's and it's totally fine. And like, but in the same token, I know it's not for everybody, you know, and I know that it's expensive. It's extremely uncomfortable. And sometimes, like, you're not even happy with the results that you get, you know? And so I think it's really, really critical that every single option gets laid out to every single patient, because, you know, it may be like a deep flat surgery may be the best option for a person, you know? It's just, I love the fact that the community like highlights each other, you know, and like they all, you know, are able to show like you can live your life this way with, you know, this particular choice that you've made. Like, I just feel like even as women, like we're always told, like if somebody doesn't want kids, oh, you're going to change your mind. Yeah. Oh, you're going to change your mind.
That's such a
we're told that all the time.
Analogy. That's so crazy.
63, never had them, haven't missed them. Sorry. So, and they always told me, yeah, people always, oh, you're going to regret that. And I thought, no, really, I'm not. And I don't. I have absolutely no feeling about it whatsoever. I love kids, don't get me wrong. And I teach young adults, and I've taught children. Half my life I taught kids, but just didn't want them. I feel like I've got thousands, to be honest, because of what I do, you know, every single day, and the young minds that I get to influence. So I feel like I've got maybe I got the best of it. when they're bad, I send them home. So, but yeah, they love to tell us what we should be doing, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think with the whole flat, and I think all we really wanted, and I know it was able, you know, so that it's an option that's provided for us. And I had a very interesting conversation with a surgeon a little while ago. She happens to be the daughter-in-law of a very dear friend of mine, and she is a specialist in breast surgery. And what she had said was, I give my patients five options, and flat is one of them. And she said, I will do any of those for you, but you need to hear them all. And I thought, well, that's fair. I have no problem hearing it all. It's just don't knock my choice. Don't tell me that I'm going to be 100% sure that I regret this, or that I'm going to be 100% happy with my implants, or that I'm going to be whatever. Don't tell me that. This is my choice. It's my body, my choice.
My ex-husband, shortly before my surgery, he's like, "Don't you think you want to have reconstruction?" I was so angry. I'm like, "You didn't want to touch my tits when I had them. You didn't want to be with me then. How dare you even think of having a say in what I do after my surgery when we've been divorced for 6 years?" I was so mad.
Yeah,
everyone has said that I would regret it, and it's been 3.5 years. And I said earlier that I was like 34 FEFG, depending on the bra. And I never even knew I was thin.
Wow.
I didn't know I was thin until I took my shirt off after, or not I took my shirt off, but after my surgery, and like going in for the first shower, and I have like a naked picture of myself, and I was like, oh, I'm tiny. Because I was always wearing such big things to cover. So yeah, going back to not regretting.
Yeah. Well,
Kelsey,
go ahead, Kat.
Kelsey, you have to introduce yourself. Kelsey.
Oh, yes. Hi. So I'm Kelsey Smith. I am a 5-year survivor. I was diagnosed at the age of 29 in 2014 with stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma. So I was ER/PR positive. And I underwent reconstruction. I went through like double mastectomy reconstruction. It was in my sentinel lymph node. And so I underwent like super aggressive treatment also. And I was on tamoxifen I'm in my 5th year now, and I was actually supposed to be off in July. And I found out about the BCI test, which can tell you, and I talk about this every episode because I think it's so important for anybody who qualifies for this test. If you are within years 4 and years 5, you're ER/PR positive and you have up to 3 lymph nodes involved, talk to your doctor and talk to your oncologist about this test, because it can give you a likelihood of reoccurrence between years 5 and years 10. And so I was supposed to be on this for 5 years, and then I took this test. I scored an 8.3 out of a 10. So if I had gotten off of my tamoxifen, I would have ended up metastatic. So I'm on it for another 5 years. I totally go through hell. I've got all the side effects and symptoms. Currently, I'll show you guys. I had to grab it. This stuff I got prescribed to me today. Diclofenac sodium. It's for arthritis. I'm just like, I've been dealing with bursitis, and I've been dealing with sciatic nerve pain. So until I see a specialist about it, I've got some topical creams. So pretty much I am an advocate locally here. I am in the Toledo, Ohio area. Technically the town is called Temperance, Michigan. And I am a support group facilitator for young cancer survivors. I also am a peer support leader for Medivivor and also Charcheray as well. And then I used to have a podcast called the Cancer Survivor Network, where I interviewed people who turned their pain into purpose and created initiatives and movements and got into the medical field, things like that, anything involving breast cancer. And now I am creating a new show called Pretty Resilient, and I am expanding beyond breast cancer. Still going to be interviewing breast cancer survivors and patients and things like that for the first season, but I am going to talk with people who have endured multiple types of trauma. So I'm really excited, and I've been coming on to the show like every week for the past like 5 weeks. So thank you, Tawny, for introducing me and Kat, and I'm so glad to be here. And I just love coming here. I think it's really cathartic for everybody. So thanks for having me. Yeah. It's nice to meet everybody.
Definitely welcome back. And one thing that you also are working on, Kelsey has a lot going on, is helping people brand themselves. Because a lot of times you think about with breast cancer, we lose our jobs, we lose, everything you think of, and you're stressed out. And one thing we discussed was helping individuals promote themselves and become a business, right? Because a lot of times we think it's hard, and it's really not. And so Kelsey is going to be, that means Chelsea's talking about me. So Kelsey is going to talk about how to do that and how to help, if you wanted to brand your business or whatever, that she has a huge background in marketing. And I think that's pretty dope to be a resource and to do that. But next we have Tierney, what's up, girl?
I made it.
Yay, hi.
I'm a dog mom, y'all. I'm a dog mom. I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'm going to love her when she's 2.
Isn't that like kids?
Introduce yourself.
I don't know. I'm like you, Tina. I never had kids.
Never had them?
I don't think I ever wanted them.
They're overrated.
I've got 1,000 of them myself, you know.
Yeah,
And,
there you go. Are you a teacher then as well?
I'm a school counselor.
Okay, then you know what I'm talking about then, yeah. Okay.
So, Tierney, introduce yourself about what you do. You yoga is very important, and that's something you was trying to get me to do, which I still got to work on stretching. But talk about that and how that kind of helps you get through your situation.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, yoga is that's my light. It's kind of cool because okay, so starting off, I was a dancer since I was like 3 years old. So yoga's always like it's next door neighbor, you know, like, hey, yoga, what's up? I really started getting into it more for, I guess, like ego purposes, I'll be honest. I'm 39. At 37, I'm watching people my age and older be able to do handstands and inversions, and I'm jealous, and I want to be able to do it too. And so I follow them on Instagram and stuff, and you come to find out that this is why they're doing it. So get up off the couch and do what they're doing. So long story short, I really started practicing yoga every day religiously. I shouldn't say religiously, routinely, in 2017. 2016, I started dabbling in it. 2017, it was every day. I decided early 2018 I was going to go to yoga teacher training. Except for in September, my boob looked really, really messed up, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. And I ended up having breast cancer, stage 2B. Only one lymph node was involved. They really wanted me to have chemo first. Tierney's scared of everything that has anything to do with needles and blood and needles and doctors and needles and surgery and needles. And did I say needles? Yeah. So I look at all of you all and I'm listening and I'm like, wow, you know, like cancer really picked the wrong person when they mess with these chicks. But oh boy, this girl's like, I'm still scared. I'm still scared. I survived and I'm still freaking scared. So yoga helps me because it's my sanity. It keeps me from losing my mind, honestly. Going back to work is hard. I'm losing my mind there. I don't even know if I can keep doing what I'm doing. Yoga is the only thing I can do. Even when I'm depressed, it's like, well, I'm going to do yoga. And so just to give you a little like touch on it, my goal is to help everybody see that yoga can be for all of them if they're interested. If you're not interested in it, then that's like talking to a brick wall. But if there's an interest and if there's a desire and there's a thought, I want people to know that everybody can do yoga, from a 95-year-old who does have arthritis using the cream. Girl, I understand I got arthritis in my feet and I bawled my eyes out. But it really does help with everything. And you can really, it's just, there's so many variations of it, from just breath work and meditation to understanding yourself and body awareness. And I didn't know at the time, but yoga was the only thing that gave me the strength to go through the cancer journey. Because the biggest thing that was happening to me is I was so pissed off in my pissed offedness because I was supposed to be the cheerleader for cancer. Not supposed to get the cancer. And so, I mean, again, so you all are just, and I think that's one thing, I don't know if Cathy's tired of hearing it or not, but I'll never forget the day I fell upon her page. And I'm looking at this woman and I am seeing I'm like, she's so pretty. Oh my God, she's gorgeous. And then she does this boudoir shot and I'm like, oh my God, this woman's beautiful. Like, holy moly, can I have those hips? And I'm like, why can't I think that I'm beautiful? She's got scars. I've got scars. You know, and so that's where Cathy's been really teaching me how to love yourself, to really say, don't think that you're like, I still dabble with, you know, who's ever going to want to take my bra off? You know, my husband and I separated after cancer. It was just our marriage wasn't strong enough to survive the cancer journey, but he did a great job taking care of me. You know, and I just think about it all the time. I'm like, sex life is over, man. I'm 39 years old. I'm about to get my ovaries out next week. I'm like, I'm going into menopause, and it hurts to have sex, but I'm only 40 almost. I'm not even 40 yet. And I want to still have a sex life in my future. And I'm like, so I plan my funeral? Not for me, but for my sex life.
No.
Right. We already know. So listen, I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. I thought that for me, okay, let me start over. I feel you with the sex part, right? So I thought for me, number one, I didn't always want to be seen as a sex symbol because I've always had hips, I always had butt, I always had that my whole life, right? However, I feel like God has given me a gift and a curse at the same time. And how I utilize it is, like, we shouldn't be ashamed of our bodies, period. But the world teaches us that women are supposed to be quiet, cover yourself up, don't show that. But these freaking men, you pay for porn, you pay for Playboy, you pay for everything else, and it's okay as long as nobody looks at your girl, but you're looking at the next door neighbor's wife jogging down the street. So, honey, if nobody does, let me tell you, it's a man out there that wants every single person, titties, no booty, with a booty, with your ovaries, no ovaries, because a real man sees the inside. We're so caught up in who would love me. You know what? Fuck them. If they don't love you, they don't deserve you. You have a good heart, number one. You are beautiful, number two. And leave them little slut buckets alone. That means they don't belong in your aura. Girl, don't get me started, because you know I'll go ham. You have just a beautiful heart, and shit. Sorry, Instagram and Facebook.
It is a grand revealer, though. It's a great revealer. Like, that's the way that I try to look at it, is like, it's such a douchebag filter. Like, my last boyfriend, I'll tell you what, my last boyfriend, and I will never do this again, but I had to bring him to the gyno office, and she had to explain to him her ovaries are shut off right now. She is trying her best. She's here trying to work on it. He couldn't comprehend it, and he couldn't get it. But it was protection.
What was she trying to explain to him that you couldn't get?
My sex drive wasn't, like, you know, there, and it was, yeah. And because I had a checkup, and he wanted to go and stuff, and it came up, and I mean, it's just like, you know, that's what it happens. Like, that's what happens. Like, my periods have been very, very, very intermittent, you know, like I feel like it's been, well, wait a second. I get cysts, right? So, like, that was the last thing that I dealt with, was like a cyst bursting. That was not fun. So I, you know, have the intermittent periods, and at 30, you know, I'm 35. So it's like, I don't know, like, once I'm off the tamoxifen, if I'm going to get them anymore afterwards. But, you know, it was supposed to show him that we could be intimate in other ways, but he just couldn't get there with me. He just wasn't evolved in that sense, you know? So it's really, even though I'm single now, and I've been, you know, single for 2 years now, maybe three. No, it's been like 3 years now. I just, you know, I try to look at it as optimistically as I can, that, you know, somebody will value me more, you know, for more than just like my appearance and my body, and, you know, my sexuality, and like what I bring, you know, and more so what I bring to the table as a human.
That was one of the biggest lessons. So I'm sorry, Tina.
No, it's okay. You go ahead when you're done. Yeah.
That was one of the biggest lessons for me. And people would ask about dating, and I'd be like, I've increased the caliber, or I've improved the caliber of men that I'm going to date. Because I always have like when I had big tits.
Jessica, that's important. Say that again for us. That is so important. Say that again.
It has increased. Now I'm forgetting the words. It has increased the character, and what did I say? The caliber. It has increased the caliber of men that I date, because they're not, I mean, I had huge boobs that I was really insecure about, but So I'll always have on my dating profile like a flat picture so they don't expect to have anything. I don't explain to them why I'm flat until a date or two into it. But I know at least they're not dating me for my boobs. And it's just been a much higher caliber man that I've gone out with since having no boobs. Yeah. And one man said to me, I'm 46, Tierney. I don't know if you were on when I said that. But he's like, you know, women in their mid-40s, their boobs aren't so great, so don't worry. And I think I was so insecure about my chest beforehand that it wasn't until after having a double mastectomy that I keep my shoulders back now. And I feel more confident in my body, in my skin, mentally and physically than I did pre-surgery. Dating.
And so wouldn't it be cool though if you actually had sex and someone knew how to do foreplay, right? And I think this is the problem. So men are so used to bam, 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 you're done, right? It's no romance no more. So if you don't have somebody who can romance you, they need to be out the door anyway, because what if their Johnson stops working? They still have a tongue. And I'm serious. It's like, if you're with a person who finds ways of not being with you because of something you can't control, then that person is a loser anyway. Bye, loser. We already have loser doctors that we deal with. We have to deal with losers in our lives, period, every day.
You guys
you got me upset.
You guys are all such babies. I'm sorry. Like you're all, you know, in your 30s and 40s, and I feel like I need to go and lay down or something. But
you look our age. So what are you talking about? You look like you're our age.
I'm 63, Tierney. I'm 63.
Crazy. So you don't look it.
Well, thank you. But so you guys are all talking about going. I'm sorry.
Tell us what real love is, because you have a husband. Tell us what real love is, and your expectation that your husband have of you is different than the losers we're talking about. So tell us about the love story, Tina.
Do you know, one of the things that really got us through is we honestly are, and I know it sounds so terribly cliched, but we really are the best of friends. So he's the guy that I want to talk to when something goes wrong. He's my person to go to when something goes wrong. He's my person to stand beside me when I need him. And, you know, we've been together now for, honey, 23 years, I think it's been. Yeah, we've been married for 18. We've been together for 23. I always forget. I'm the one who forgets the anniversaries and the birthdays and stuff. I'm hopeless. But yeah, he was just there. He was the one that packed the bag when I had to go for chemo, and packed the ice and the tea bags and the chocolate bars and the whatever else I might need, and the rags and the Kleenexes and the, you know, and the whatever I needed. He would just get the bag ready for us to go. And he's just been the biggest possible support that I could ever ask for. And it hasn't been easy at times, because I know that with what I've gone through, I haven't been the easiest person to live with at times either, because of all the shit I've had to go through. And he has just been there for me, like, through the whole thing. And he just loves me. And in any form, you know, he wouldn't have cared. He just wanted me to be alive. He did lose his second partner to cancer. So maybe that made a difference. I don't know, but he was way better at being at the hospital than I ever was, because he was, when she passed away, she was 36 years old. And it was heartbreaking. So I felt terrible, I have to be honest, that here he is so many years later, and you have to do this again? Like, oh my God. Because sometimes the other side of that is, when you're with somebody, is that they kind of get forgotten sometimes, because they're the caregiver. You're the one that's going through all of it, and they go through all this crap that they have to go through too. And everybody forgets about them. So it is something to kind of remember, that there is another side to this too, when you've got somebody who really wants to be with you and sometimes doesn't know how. So, you know, there's the, are you with the right person? How can you help them get through this? And how can they help you get through this? If
how
that makes
can you get through it? Because I can't imagine, like, the trauma of having gone through what he went through, and then trauma of it coming back up. Like, oh my God, he's with the love of his life, and now this diagnosis again.
Yeah. It was hard. But we never, we got into the odd. We're not very snarky with each other anyway. We've always vowed that we were going to be nice people to each other. If you're that nice to your friends, why are you not that nice to your partner, right? So we try to communicate regularly and be close, and we're just good. So I wish that for all of you. There are really nice men out there. Although I did a horrible thing to him in the hospital when I woke up, and of course he just laughed when he found out what I did. So I wake up. I've had my double mastectomy, and there is a nurse standing over me, and the nurse says to me, "So you had a double mastectomy yesterday?" And I went, "Yes." And he said, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "I'm not sure yet. I just woke up." And he said, "Are you doing reconstruction?" You guys know how that conversation goes, right? And I went, "No." And he said, "Oh, how come?" And he was very friendly about it. Like, it wasn't, I didn't feel like I was being...
You literally just came out of surgery.
So I said, "Well, I just don't want that shit in my body. I know that for me, that's not the right thing to do." And I said, "And my husband's fine with me looking like a 14-year-old boy." And then I said, "And now I realize just how bad that sounds." So it was like, he laughed, I laughed, and I thought, oh boy. Okay, let me rephrase that. Whatever I have to do. So, but it was, and I kind of do like put a baseball cap on me and I could pass for a 14-year-old boy. So. Anyway, there are really great men out there who they care about you and not about, about your breasts or your, whatever, your frown lines or your whatever it is that you have. So it doesn't matter. They are out there. They're just hard to find.
They are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm still looking.
Yeah, well,
Me too. It's okay.
Yeah. But it's nice to have the inspiration to hear that exists.
It does. Yeah, it does.
And it is nice to hear too, because, I think the statistic is that like 90% of women that get diagnosed end up getting divorced or end up getting, whether it's dumped or the relationship ends altogether. And I'm unfortunately in that 90%. It was like we were together for like a month. It's like all of a sudden I had breast cancer, just like crazy. And it was really incredible. It's just like, some men think they can handle it because maybe like their parents went through it, but it's a completely different beast when it's your significant other. So it's just like, I love to hear stories about the good guys who, stick around and, see everything through, because it is not many that do. So thank you.
That high, 90%.
Yeah. I've read that as a statistic that it's upwards to about 90%. Yeah. And and it could be off, but it's pretty high.
Yeah.
Now I will say, just because I promised my ex-husband and he told me he didn't care, but we were struggling before cancer. So cancer just kind of was the tip of the ice, just tipped it all over, because, and I did thank him, because I said, you did make it, a very, like, the caliber, thinking about what you're saying, Jessica, and then adding that with my ex-husband, because, when I could, because like I told y'all, needles and all that stuff. I literally was like throwing up about myself. Like, oh my God, there's an expander and like I would be wanting to throw up, because it just was really hard for me to wrap my brain around. So he would have to do my drains. To this day, I'm like, I think I might have ruined your sex life for the rest of your life. Like, granted, it gets turned on. He still has a sex drive, but I don't know how, because, oh my God, just.
Because you're beautiful, and it was part of you and part of your experience. It's
absolutely.
Oh, I threw up on him. I did. Oh, I did. I threw up on him. We didn't have kids together, but I threw up on him.
It happens. Yeah. I was laughing though, because when you said about milking the drains.
Right.
When I wrote my book, one of the things I said was that for the first 3 days, my first operation, when I got home, I was standing in the shower, and he would stand in the shower behind me and hold my drains, because we didn't have it figured out that, you know, I could loop them around my neck or something, right? And I thought, boy, that's loyalty, standing in the shower behind me, holding my drains up.
Awesome.
And one of the things I talked about was that he was the one that constantly milked my drains. And I said, it sounds like it's code for something very erotic, but trust me, it's not.
Antithesis of eroticism.
No, there's no.
Oh my God, there's nothing sexy about it.
There's nothing
You know, my friend Ginny came up from Kentucky to take care of me the first 10 days, which I didn't have high self-esteem. I didn't feel, my dad had passed away in 2011 and I was diagnosed in 2016, and it had just been a shit show of, I got divorced, I went back to school full time, I went back to work full time, had a kid, like just shit show. And didn't feel, I missed the love my dad gave me. And it was when I got diagnosed that I started reaching out to people. And the outpouring of love was like, holy shit. And that was like really one of the cancer benefits, I would say, is getting to feel that and getting to experience that being loved, to the fault of thinking, I can't wait till the day of my mastectomy, because then all my friends are going to come visit me after. So there was a shift. Like, I recognized the thought as it happened, like, you need to shake up your life and see your friends more, so it doesn't require you feeling this way because you're having a mastectomy. So that, you know, definitely was a big paradigm shift for me. But my friend Ginny came up, and the first few days she was draining them. I'm like, I can't even look. Like, you know, ultimately they were in for, I think, almost 3 weeks. So I had to do it myself, and it wound up being fine. But those first few days, oh man, that chunks, when the chunks get stuck. I've never talked about this before. The chunks, oh my God, the fucking drains.
When the chunks get stuck.
The first night, I had friends stay with me for, I think, the first 2 weeks. And the first night that a friend didn't stay with me, that morning I woke up and it leaked all over my bed.
Oh.
I was terrified. I don't even remember how or what, but it was terrifying. Because those things are scary. They're like dug into your body. For those of you just listening, I don't want to scare people who haven't had their surgery yet.
Okay.
Oh, they suck. They're the worst. They were the worst part of the whole thing for me, was the drain.
Oh, and then like having to like get them like out too was like, oh, like I hated that.
Look, the people watching, Xanax is a great medicine. Don't worry. Just tell your doctor you need some Xanax for that.
Take a lot of it the day your drains go out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hold on.
You
Did
can't
your drain fall out by accident? Did anybody have a drain fall out by accident?
No,
Or everybody's drain stayed in?
no.
Mine
No.
stayed in.
Yeah.
Mine were.
Some people that I know, drains have fell out and they had to go back to the doctor and put them back in.
Do you know that we were actually staying with friends when I had my double mastectomy, because I did not have it in the city that I live in. And so we went to a much larger center, and we were staying with friends. Now, I've known these people for decades, right? But so we had our own little wing in the house with the guest room and the, you know, our own office and the, you know, and a nice bathroom. But the bed was quite small, and because I did have the drains in, my husband was terrified that he would roll over and pull something out, right? Like pull a drain out. Or he slept for the week on the floor, so he could be in the same room with me if I needed anything. But I felt so bad, because I would crawl into bed and, you know, put all the pillows around me and prop myself up and get myself like this, and he would crawl on the floor and fall asleep. So yeah, they can be pulled out by you or other people, but we made it through the whole week. But it was very sweet.
I will say to anyone who's listening, don't videotape it, because I watched someone on Instagram have it removed before mine was removed. I didn't realize it was like 6 feet of shit inside your body.
Yeah.
I was so angry that that's what did it. And the staples, or you know how there's like string, the sutures,
Yeah.
and they're thick. It's like wire. Mine bent in, and my skin absorbed the suture.
Ow.
The pain was constant. And again, the drains were in for like 16 days. That was the worst part. But then my skin just sucked in those sutures so deeply. So when that got pulled out, oh my God, I still, like, I could picture it, the nurse doing it. Oh. So for everyone listening, mastectomy and mastectomy, it's a fucking drains. But they go.
It's the easy cancer. What are you talking about? This is the easy cancer to have.
Yeah, no problem. This one's a treat. I remember when she pulled my drains out, and I was only 6 days, actually. I was on the 7th day, and I phoned because I knew the office, it was Christmas time, right? And I knew the office was going to be closed. And I thought, oh God, please tell me you'll take them out, because otherwise I'm going to have them for another 10 days. And she said, well, come in and we'll look. So I went in and she looked and she said, yeah, we can pull them out. So I thought, okay. So, and I knew it was going to hurt because I've had them out before, right? But before, because it was lumpectomy on either side when I had both cancer diagnoses. So pulling one out, you know, yeah, it hurts like hell. But after she pulled it out, I knew I had to do it again. When she pulled the first one out, I went, oh, fuck. And then I said, I'm so sorry. I'm not swearing at you. It's just that really hurt. And she said, I know. And she said, I feel so bad. So I'm crying. She's crying. And then we pulled the other one out and I walked out and we went for lunch. Because I thought, okay, you know what? I deserve a reward. You better get the one. Yeah. So we went out and had some lunch. And then
Did any of y'all like ooze after the drains were pulled out?
Oh. Yeah. Even during, like, I would ooze out the side and stuff. Like, oh yeah. And you know, this may sound like really weird, but like one thing I was really surprised about with the fluid is that it didn't smell. I know that this.
No, totally.
I was expecting it to smell like just like really bad and bloody, because like when I was in like the 5th grade or so, I was having a really bad problem with nosebleeds. Like I would get nosebleeds and I ended up having to get a blood vessel cauterized, in my nose because of it. And I just crazy, like thick clumps, and it just smelled so horrible, and it was like having them, and then like, it's just like weird that, you think that it would.
I mean, you can do it. Like,
no, yeah, I agree. It doesn't. And my oncologist was laughing because I mean, they didn't let me get my first chemo because I was still oozing, and I'm like, I got my period coming out of the side of my body, and you're not even going to give me chemo? Like I can't help it. I mean, my poor oncologist, she was like trying so hard not to let me see that she was laughing, but I'm like, whatever, just laugh. I don't care.
I knew it was a little bit, but not like that. They were not bad at all. They really did close up pretty fast. But when you were talking about how long the drains are, Jessica, I'm so thin that you could actually see some of it.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So it was like, there's this thing under your skin that you're going, this can't be right. But yeah, it was pretty nauseating. So I could hardly wait to get them out. But did you see them? Like I have to watch these things.
God, no.
I have to watch. Oh yeah, I watched the whole thing. They actually have on the end of them like a little shovel. Okay, so they're this really skinny tube, and then there's this larger plastic thing, like when you put an anchor in the wall and it spreads, right? That's why they have this little shovel thing on the end, because of course I asked, because she said that's what stops it from, if it's supposed to stop it from coming up. She said it doesn't always, but it does. It makes it, but that's what makes it so painful, is that last little bit.
Like literally feeling you.
Yes, I can feel. That's why I was holding him. I'm like, ah!
We're all sitting here like this now.
We're like, ah!
Bullet holes are hurting.
Yeah. But it was so nice to be able to sleep on my side again. And, I know it took a couple of weeks still, but at least I didn't have to have all those pillows propped around me. So, because I was terrified of rolling over and pulling one out. So once they were out, it went pretty fast, because mine was, I guess, technically prophylactic. I mean, my cancer diagnosis were over. And I did this as a preventative for any future things, because my prognosis it's a little, it was a little dicey. I couldn't get out from under the test. I was telling Jessica earlier that I was having constant testing every 3 months. I couldn't get up to 6 months. I couldn't get to a year. They kept finding we kept finding lumps that we'd have to biopsy. I kept having, you know, a couple of times we thought it went metastatic. And I finally just thought, you know what, I'm taking my life in my hands by keeping these things. And why am I doing this? So I went to my oncologist and he said, if that's what you want to do, Tina, he said, I think it's a really good idea. He said, I think that you're making a smart choice. And then of course we started talking about reconstruction because I knew that I did not want that. So I just chose to have them off and heal. So, and that, you know, that's been a good thing. It certainly hasn't been completely smooth, but it's been pretty good. So.
When was your surgery?
December of 2019. So it's been almost 8 months now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're pretty new out.
Yeah, it hasn't been a really long time. So I'm still, unfortunately, my scars went hypertrophic. So they're not keloid, but they are a little bit messier than I would like. But I'm thinking about maybe doing a tattoo. I don't know. I'm not sure. You know, part of me just wants to say, you know what? These are my fucking scars. I earned them. And if you don't like them, well, you know what you can do with that. Just fuck
Can
it.
I tell you, like,
yeah.
I sort of regret. I'm gonna get naked. Is this on?
Okay.
Who's gonna see this? Where's this showing?
I'll go ahead.
Fuck it. So when I would show myself compassion, the reason I did the hand is I would find like telling the story early on, like I would go like this. Yeah. And this woman once said, like, you're showing yourself so much compassion when, you know, I feel like you're being compassionate to yourself when you do this. And I wanted to get that tattoo. Mm-hmm. But like, I love the tattoo as a tattoo.
Yeah.
But it's so high up. Like, and my scars healed, like they go all the way back. I mean, you can see it all the way back.
Wow. Yeah, they really go back. Yeah.
But it's very faded. But I hate this. Like, I loved not having cleavage for a while, and I hate that I have like these fingers sticking out. So that's my only advice in tattooing. Like, I love tattoos. I have a huge one on my arm. But I kind of would rather just the little scars hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm trying to make up my mind, and I'm not going to be in the US.
What?
You can always turn it to something else, right? Like later on, you can turn the tattoo into something else and have it still like something beautiful to represent who you are. I think it's a dope tattoo. I like it.
Thank you. I like it. I just don't like when the fingers seep out of the shirt. I think it's like what.
Oh. Okay, I have a game for us. I have a game for us, ladies. I have a game for us. Every now and then I like to throw a game in because, you know, it's fun night, and I know that some of us have to get off, of course, but I love you all just 100. I just met some of you tonight, and you're stuck with me forever. You're stuck with all of us. So we'll, you know, tag yourself on the I Rock My Scars page for tonight for the little lips that's on there so we can all follow everybody. Yeah. But the name of the game is Have You Ever? So everybody has to put up 10 fingers. And when I name something that you have done, a finger goes down, okay? Just one finger at a time. All right? So whoever has fingers up, I'm not going to say if you're going to lose, but we'll see. Okay. And you have to be honest, bitches. All right.
I'm in. All in. Let's do it.
Okay. Ever broken a bone?
Ever broken a bone? No. So if you have not, you put a finger down?
If you have, you put a finger down. All right. Have you ever been on a radio or TV station channel? Have you ever went skydiving, bungee jumping, or parasailing? Do you have piercings in places people can't see?
Do you have what?
Piercings in places people can't see.
I used to have my nipples pierced.
Yes, piercings, yes.
And now those are gone, so that's too bad, but I still do.
Have you?
Oh no, you're
everybody.
Go ahead, repeat it one more time. Sorry.
All right. Have you spoken to anyone over the phone this week more than 2 hours?
God, yeah. Just yesterday.
has a friend that shares the same birthday? Anybody has
What's
a friend
that?
that shares the same birthday?
Okay, what was that again?
Do you have a friend that shares your birthday?
No. Oh yeah, I do actually. I do. Yep.
Had a near-death experience. All us can put a finger down for that.
Yeah, no kidding. Can we put a couple fingers down?
Right, how many times? Have you ever re-gifted a gift at Christmas? Have you ever picked at someone who was sexy and got naked but act like you didn't want to look?
Wait, what? What was that?
Repeat that,
Have you
Kat.
act like you didn't look?
Yeah, I still didn't get it.
Okay. Have you ever peeked at someone who was sexy but act like you didn't look that got naked?
Oh, of course.
I'm
Okay.
sure.
Last two. Have you ever paid for a stranger's food, drink, or gas?
Frank.
Last one. Have you ever done a belly flop off a diving board?
I'm old.
Yes,
Fingers
that
out.
part.
Go Tina.
I'm old. I've done most of it. I've
I'm
never.
all out of hand, dude.
Yeah, I've never bungee jumped, but I did fly a glider. Does that count?
Yes, I paraglided in Myrtle Beach.
Oh, did you? Oh, I've never.
Yeah,
I've
it was
never
fun.
done it. Never done it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Jessica, how many fingers did you have up?
4 left.
Okay, I'm gonna give you $25 per finger.
What?
Tina, how many fingers did you have up?
I only had 2 left.
Okay, I'm gonna give you $25 per finger. Kelsey, how many fingers you had up?
No fingers.
Come on, Kels. You live
Yeah.
like that?
I
Dang,
did
girl.
everything, like just about everything.
So
Danny,
you won?
I had 5. She can have some of my
Danny,
fingers.
that's $25 per finger. And because Kelsey knows everybody's always a winner, Kelsey will get some money too. Everybody send me your cash apps through my DM on my social media so we can pay you out. And of course, I just want to say to you ladies, you are fabulous. I love your stories. I love your heart. And I want you to just keep pouring into others as this group has poured into you. Invite someone back next time that you feel like would benefit from the group. Definitely, I always end with my favorite line. Know that you are the best, better than the rest, and nothing less because you were made by God. So peace, love, and blessings. Thank everybody for joining Real Talk Rebels, where we talk about any and everything and get some shit off our chest, and we say, okay. So until next time, beautifuls, I hope you join us next week. I don't want to hold you hostage. Don't forget to send me your cash app. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
I love meeting y'all. Yay.
love meeting
Thanks, Cathy.
Thank you.
One.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Yes,
Bye,
nice to
honeys.
meet you. Bye.
Bye.